guys, we are back. Welcome back to the Ready Set Blow podcast. Fuck, this will be episode 334. I pre-taped a bunch.
Damn.
Yeah, I got the one and only Lord Petty, Mr. Rodney Smith himself.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Do you go by Rodney? You prefer Petty?
You know, I've been starting to just go by Rodney again because it's weird just having people you know calling you Lord Petty. You know,
unless you're a hip hop artist, a little fucking weird.
Yeah.
Or actual royalty, but royalty's even fucking weird.
Well, it's funny because a friend of mine, shout out to Jade, she bought me like a piece of land in Scotland just so I'm an official lord now. So that's pretty good. But
like a piece of a bridge.
It's a piece of land, just like like a square foot of land.
Give you a brick somewhere.
Yeah. So I'm appreciative, and I actually do have a rap album out under Lord Petty. I made it during COVID. It was just trolling.
Is it like Weird Al type shit?
No, I mean, I wanted it to sound, I wanted it so when you actually listen to it, it's like, okay, yeah, this guy's spitting. But then, well, no, opposite. I wanted when you're actually hearing it, it just sounds like any sort of trash on the radio, but I'm just talking about like eating ass and stuff like that, you know, just dumb white boy shit.
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, because they got to eat ass in the black community.
I don't think they do, dude. So when I moved to LA.
What they definitely don't play is gay jokes. They don't like that.
No, not at all.
And, you know, insulting their family. Like if, you know, like your mama jokes, they take those seriously.
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up out in the sticks, right? Like
where are you from?
Long story short, Washington, kind of the boonies of Washington, like an hour north of Seattle.
All right.
I'm from Germany, but long story short, Washington were my formative years.
Okay.
And But so in 2010, I moved to LA and I moved into this house just off Craigslist, you know?
Okay.
And it was me and 5 black dudes.
You're just like fresh out of college, kind of?
Fresh out of high school.
Oh, so did you go to college?
Well, that's why I came down here.
Okay, came down
to
to
go
school,
to
gotcha.
to go to audio school. So I just moved into this house with 5 black dudes, and like I said, I'm from the sticks. I've never really been around black people before.
Yeah, which is kind of ironic for the very liberal Pacific Northwest, for a town so woke. There's not. It's like, you know, they're not even your neighbors.
Well, it's not like I'd never seen. I love them, but
especially when they're way over there. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't anything intentional or anything like it. It was just, you know, you live it out in the sticks. But so what I realized is that redneck culture and the black culture, there's more in common than not.
So much, dude. I kind of learned that through you know, and I'm not a big fan of his music. I mean, he makes good music, but I grew up mostly on hip hop. But like Kid Rock, like he is like a white rapper. Like, I mean, in the sense that like he's a rock star, but you know, he's a fucking hillbilly and wants to spend his money on trucks and women and drugs and all the shit that you see in a hip hop video.
Right.
You know, like, so I kind of came to that conclusion, but you're right. They do have a ton in common.
There's an SNL skit. What's his name? Tom Hanks is in it. He's basically on Black Jeopardy and he's wearing the MAGA hat.
Oh, yes.
And that kind of reinforced, you know, when you have these little ideas in life, then you see something that reinforces it. That's when I realized, okay, this racism shit is bogus. It's bullshit. It's the fucking Matrix trying to pin us against each other, because I could go to any hood in America, and unless they wanted to rob me, I could hang out. So we'd be riding dirt bikes, drinking 40s.
Dude, that's the thing. You know, my buddy Jeff always says it's hard to hate someone up close. I mean, if you hang out with people,
right,
you realize you're just like everybody else. Like, we all want the same thing. Like, you hang out with, you hang out with a group of 30-year-old black guys, like, oh yeah, let's go get drinks and chase women. You know, like, and they're all single. Like, that's what guys do. You know, it's what you know. You have similar interests. It's not, you're not that far apart.
That's what the internet has really done. The internet, it's brought us together, and then we've got too close. We're like, all right, fuck everybody. I need to retreat a little bit. But it's like you said, it's very hard. You said it wonderfully. I don't remember exactly how you said it, but it's hard to hate somebody
up close,
because most people you meet, we just want to get some money, get some bitches.
I know. Well, that's the thing I remind, like, you know, because everyone's, you know, I'm sure we'll talk about politics at some point. We don't have to get into it right now, but like, it is sort of so pervasive now. But when you walk around day to day, you don't know anyone's political affiliation. Like, I go into a coffee shop on Sunset, you know, and the little barista with his fucking, you know, curly Q mustache and his big stupid wheeled bike tied up out front. Yeah. Like, it's just a nice exchange. I don't know anything about his life other than, you know, he made me a good cup of coffee. I sat there for 3 hours and I left. Like, you know, you interact with people all day and none of that comes up. But then somehow we all get on social media, or a lot of people, most people get on social media and start fucking bickering about things that, as if you walk by them in the street, you wouldn't get into that argument. It wouldn't even come up.
Yeah, and I don't know what the solution is. You know, I wish in the field of work I was in, I didn't need all this stuff because I would like to just retreat from it.
Yeah.
You know? And I've kind of had a spiritual awakening. I mean, if you would have asked me 2-3 weeks ago, I'd have been like, oh, fucking red wave, Republican, this and that. And then within the last few days, all this Roe v. Wade shit's coming back, and now the Republicans are going after gay men. It's like, dude, didn't we take care of this in 2010?
That's what blows my mind. Like, take it even something more fundamental. We solved the Earth is round with Copernicus. Like this shit is going back to the 16th century.
Yeah.
And now, because of the internet, somehow there's a good number of people out there who legitimately believe there's some grand conspiracy to hide the fact that the Earth is actually flat. You know what I'm saying? Like if we can go back on fucking flat Earth, we can certainly, turn back the clock on all the progress we've made in the last 30 years when it comes to, gender equality or race or this or that. Like, because I said, if we can erase 500 years of knowledge, we can certainly erase 30 years of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like it's just as easy.
And who benefits from the world being flat?
That's what I always come back to. Where's the money in that? Conspiracies make sense to me when there's someone getting some sort of financial, political, or, sort of power gain from it. Who is making money because the Earth is flat?
I don't know, dude.
like airplane companies? No, because they have to like fly and it doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes literally zero sense.
I don't know. Dude, speaking of weird things going on, like I just reading the news. I was listening in the car coming over. I actually wanted to grab your opinion on this because you're do you consider yourself a meme lord?
100%.
Okay.
It's kind of.
I don't know when you give yourself that. I gave myself that sometime over the pandemic. I just added it to the thing. Comedian, podcaster. All right, I'll add meme lord to it. I don't know. I don't know what the official criteria is.
I mean, I wouldn't. If I saw some hot far right Latina, I wouldn't approach her and say, "Hey, I'm a meme lord." But
it's not gonna get me any pussy, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna open with that.
yeah, nobody's ever gonna.
Unless you're like fuck Jerry, I don't think you can get any pussy using that. You have to be like the biggest of the meme pages. To get everything.
There's definitely some meme chicks out there for sure. But
Yeah, what do they? Because they call like women who chase comics chuckle fuckers, and then obviously you have gold diggers, whatever they call them. But I wonder what they would call a woman that chases meme lords.
I don't know.
You got to come up with a name. Put it on a shirt.
Yeah.
Sell it on your website.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Speaking of selling stuff, I brought you a little present.
Oh yeah, The Petty Prince. I wanted to ask you about this book. I love it.
It's a book for you, man. You can read
Petty
it.
Principles. Check it out.
Yeah, just a little thing for you when they cut your power off for not eating bug burgers and tweeting mean things.
So this is just your basic philosophy.
Yeah, it's kind of a trolling. So basically, I would say things online with my own philosophies, and I've read a lot of Stoicism, Robert Greene type books and stuff like that. So it's not all just like fart jokes and stuff like that. It's kind of a condensed down version of kind of my being red pilled to why everything I know is fake.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. But so I would say things, and I would always get this response: "Do you have a source for that?" And it's like, what do you mean a fucking source? Like, open up your eyeballs, dog. Like, go outside and live some
I don't
life.
know. It's my experience. Yeah.
Right. Like everything you read on the internet is just some guy. So it's like, why can't I just be that guy? So now I have a book where it's published. So legally it's a source. So if I say some dumb shit.
You published a book so you get a Wikipedia page made about yourself?
Yeah.
It's genius, dude. No. You start referencing, I've read, it's been published in books, and then you just sort your own book.
Exactly.
You source your own book.
Exactly. No, it started as a joke. And so the first version, I kind of scrapped it because it was too stupid. Then I realized, like, but maybe I will write this thing, put it together, kind of like structure it and try. So, that's how that came about.
Nice.
So I wanted it to be, I didn't want it to be preachy, and I didn't want to just be dick jokes. So it's kind of like comedy meets stoicism.
Okay. Nice. But what I was going to ask you about, because I was going as a memer, you got to fucking see what's going on the internet, what's going on in the world of culture, and obviously everyone's talking about the collapse of FTX and crypto. Is that something you have any knowledge about? Like what's your? Because I have my own views on crypto, and I always thought it seems fishy, but I mean, given the huge explosion that happened with this company, I mean, they lost like $17 or $18 billion in cash, I believe.
And what happened to all the money?
That's the thing. They can't find it. So ironically, the guy who took over as CEO that's handling the liquidation of FTX is the same guy who did the liquidation for Enron.
Oh, God.
So it goes back to those whole conspiracy things. This is just one more way for them to siphon off money, and bilk people who just wanted to deposit their money in cryptocurrency.
How do I get into these circles, bro?
I know.
How do I get into these fucked up Illuminati circles? I'm not even mad at these people. I really like. I know. Just invite me, dude.
I was like, how do I get involved in this?
Yeah.
Because I was always suspicious of crypto
Same.
Because the value proposition was buy this because it'll go up in value. Why? Nobody had any good answers to why.
Right.
Like, and last time I checked, like you could buy some things with crypto and Bitcoin and this, that. I'm like, yeah, man, but go try and buy a cup of coffee. You know, fucking see if you pay your drug dealer in crypto. It's not going to happen. Cash is king for a reason. That term exists. You know,
Yeah.
and the idea that like some decentralized coin that has no government and no army backing it. I mean, that's what really gives the dollar any value, is the fact that the U.S. government will defend it.
Yeah, that's a good
Who the
point.
fuck's going to defend Bitcoin? You know what I'm saying?
Bunch of nerds.
You're gonna show up with their keyboards.
See, I'm torn on it because I don't trust it, but I don't trust anything. But
that's a personal thing I'm working on. In therapy.
but all that money is just an exchange of value, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we used to trade cows and necklaces and whatnot. Then we decided, okay, if we all decide that this, because what the fuck is money? It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They just keep printing more of it while this inflate. It's this. I mean, besides the military, you take that aspect out of it. Crypto is basically no different than the U.S. dollar. We all just decide it's.
We all
worth
just agree
something.
it's worth something.
We agree it's worth something, but like you say, at least the dollar was founded off of the gold standard. There, like you said,
It
there's
has a
things,
history to it.
there's things backing it, and I don't know with crypto. And once everybody was doing it, that was the red flag for me.
That's what bothered me. It's like when every jerk off and their mother is involved. Like guys that I know are dumber than me.
Yeah.
They're making money in crypto. It's like, yeah, I'm staying at it, man. Like, you know, like eventually, you play 3 hands of blackjack, you win 3 in a row. Eventually, you're gonna lose, buddy. Like I know the odds of that game. That's the fluke. You're catching, you know, a wave a wave of popularity that's not gonna last. And like I said, they would just tell me like, oh, you should buy this. Why? Because it'll go up in value. That's not a reason. Like it serves no other purpose. Like even with money, I can burn it and get warmth. Like I can't do anything with the crypto. You know, like I can't even touch the fucking thing.
But you get, you know, they call them bag holders. So somebody will buy up a huge share, and so they're controlling it. So if you control this big pot, you can get other people to buy in because it's technically going up in value. But then you just drop a lot. Now the value goes back down, and now you've taken these other people's money. So it's basically just a Ponzi scheme.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody's pulling out the rug at all times. And so if I had millions of dollars, I would go in tomorrow and drop $5 million into Bitcoin, the price of it would go up.
Yeah.
And then a week later, I would just pull all my money that I initially put in.
It's a classic pump and dump. Yeah,
it's a pump and dump. Yeah.
And you kind of should have saw it coming too, because as soon as they had some money, their first round of investing at FTX, they started using it to buy up celebrities, to endorse all this stuff. And once, you know, like it's like anything that Jake Paul promotes obviously has no value. It's just cool for the moment, you know. It'll be a passing fad.
Yeah.
I just don't. I never understood from a basic level. Like oh, it's an alternative form of currency. It's like, well, currency doesn't change its value by 40% in a day. Like if the value of your dollar went up or down 30% a day, it wouldn't be worth $1.
Right.
You wouldn't know because you have no idea. Like the dollar is almost generally worth $1 every day. Like it changes a fraction of a percentage in terms of its relative value to other currencies. Crypto, it's all over the map. I mean, like the guy's own coin lost like 95 percentage points the day it collapsed. That's why it collapsed. So essentially, he took investors' money, put it into his own cryptocurrency, and then used that cryptocurrency to make like a bunch of other really risky trades. So when the value of his currency went down, the whole thing fell apart.
Yeah, I got to look deeper into it because it sounds really interesting. I just kind of get jealous.
Yeah, that's why I was listening to it on the way in the car ride over, because apparently his parents are like you know, big shot lawyers and
of course,
you know, political string pullers at Stanford. So this is, I mean, he's taking down the whole family with this.
God, you know,
no one's going to trust them again because you know.
I just always think about that. You know, I'm trying very hard. If I'm awake, I'm working. You know what I mean? But I just know I probably will never reach a level where I'll just have some global impact on crashing some economy or something like that. So I just imagine these people that get to that point and what it's like being at that point where you actually have some sort of fucked up impact on the world like that. And I wouldn't want to deal with it. I would never want to be.
Well, there's two things about it. One, I feel like guys like this Bankman-Fried guy, because it doesn't seem like everything he did. It's questionable if what he's done is illegal yet, because it's a completely unregulated market, which is another horrible reason to get into it. Like, you know, if how you can make an investment now, you don't know what I'm going to do with the money. That's not a good investment. You want to have clarity into what they're doing with your money.
Right.
So this is completely unregulated. So that, you know, so he had that going for him. But I agree with you. Like, I don't think I'd ever get to that level, because why I would never be worth $1 billion because I'd stop at 300 million. Like,
Yeah, I'd be
what's the
happy.
point? Like
Yeah.
what else do I have to prove to somebody else? You know, like it seems like he almost had to keep going, or else everyone's gonna find out it was a big fucking lie. You know, like
Yeah.
it's kind of like the Bernie Madoff situation where like you start stealing a little bit one day, and then 30 years later you realize the whole fucking thing is stolen. You're like, oh shit, like your
Yeah.
lie compounds.
You're just in too deep at that point.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I wonder what the next hot thing will be. I mean, they invented a currency.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think about this kind of shit all the time. I mean, I'm just driving through LA, I just see the urban decay, and then I get on the internet, I see everybody beefing, then I see turn on the news and the whole world wants to blow itself up. And then
So I guess the moral of the story is buy guns. No.
yeah, pretty much. But
Their stock value seems to be going up quite nicely.
yeah, well, and at least that's a good point again. We're talking about the crypto and the stock market. At least when you invest in the stock market and businesses, there's some sort of control because you can look at how the business is doing. You can look at the condition of the world. There's some sort of reflection of the times within. I don't know how to do like option trading. I'm kind of studying it right now. Are you into that?
I know a little bit. So I spent 11 years in finance before I got into this. So I was an investment banker. So I know something about it. I'm not like a trader or anything by that stretch, but I'm familiar.
Yeah, I made a E-Trade account the other day, and I was playing. What do they call it? Paper. What are they? Where it's like fake trading. Just trying to.
Oh,
like,
paper
work.
trade. Just seeing how you start up like to see how your trade would do if you actually executed it.
Because I mean, I've dumped money into businesses like stock, like the regular stock market, but I don't know anything about actually trading options because that's where it gets nerdy and picky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing is, let's be frank. The stock market is a very complicated way to gamble.
Yeah.
It's all, you're making a educated guess and not a bet because there's public information, but that, if I invest in this, the value will go up or down, and I'll make money this or that way. But financial markets, it's almost like law in that they make them complicated so lawyers have to exist.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The financial markets get more and more complex so bankers can keep their job and keep charging more and more fees. They could easily solve, tax law can be 4 fucking pages. Why would they do that? That'd be, 400,000 lawyers out of business, and they're making billions of dollars a year. There's no point in doing that.
That just blew my mind.
Booster shots, keep getting your flu shot. The fucking flu shot, the average flu shot is like 30% effective. But every year everyone's told to go get a flu shot.
I'm not getting that shit.
Fuck
that.
Exactly.
Ain't no government telling me to put in my body. Hell no.
I know.
That ain't happening, dog. Hell no.
The way they got me one time at work because it was free, and they were just like coming around to like
They give you like some donuts or something.
I was like, I was just on the phone call. I was like, all right, just hit it. And it shot me one. But this is, back when I was working at an office and go around giving flu shots. But it's one of those things like no one wants to stop the wheel from turning because they're all getting fat while all this shit's going on.
Yeah.
The same thing with crypto. I mean, like, dude, they were naming arenas and shit. Like, people are like, it's a get rich quick scheme. Get in on it now. It's like fucking.
Just let me in, guys. Let me in. That's all I'm asking. I don't even have beef with you. I'm not going to trash you. I just want a part of it. That's all I want. Not even mad, dude. We're all going to die anyway someday. So why not just get rich off some fucked up Ponzi scheme? People will be mad for 2 years or something.
It almost happened, dude. Fucking that missile that hit Poland. that somehow they don't know where it came from still. It's like, come on, guys.
You know what's bad? I have this like political platform and I don't even pay attention to politics at this point. Like if I don't see it with my own eye, like I heard that somebody launched a fucked up missile that hit something that shouldn't have hit. And I was like, I don't even want to know about it.
Well, the problem is too, like the news cycle is such that the story is reported before anyone has any facts.
Yeah.
So it immediately starts with conjecture.
Yeah.
It's like, missile landed in Poland. Some say, who says? Who's some? Like you ever see that? Like, sources say, who?
Yeah, somebody's tweet.
Yeah, like
That's
it's like
all it is.
it happened 12 minutes ago. Are you sure you have all the facts?
Yeah.
How can you possibly have all the facts if body parts still flying around?
Yeah, I was like when they say according to an anonymous source. Well, fuck you. I could be the source, and I'm telling you that's not true.
Yeah, I wonder like what the controls are now in news because like
There are
back
none.
in the day like they would worry because traditional news like the newspaper would worry about being fucking sued if they print a story
That's how it should be.
It's true. But now because things happen so fast, like it's almost like the level of liability that you have to clear to actually publish a story is just on the floor. Because you got to be the first to get it out. So there's no way you can fact check if you want to be the first to get it out. So that dynamic already means you're going to get things wrong.
Somebody, I can't remember if it was like Rachel Maddow or somebody like that, somebody really big, they got sued and their defense team said, well, this is just an entertainment show. So now that's this legal loophole where they can say whatever the fuck they want, and they just say, well, this is just entertainment.
It's so
Which
annoying.
is bad.
It's annoying because even if they say that, and even if the listeners know that, doesn't change the fact that the listeners will believe what they're hearing on a show they enjoy.
And they're idiots. They're morons. If you stare in that TV at night and you think, oh yeah, these people on the other end of this tube have my best interest at heart.
Of course not.
No.
I mean, that's one of my favorites too. It's like you get that a lot with like older people, like boomers. They'll be like, oh, all these millennials and Gen Z getting all this crap information from the internet, and then they sit down and turn on cable news. It's like, well, what makes you think that's any better? Like, they're selling advertising too. Basically, if they're trying to sell something while they're giving you information, all the information is bullshit. Yeah. If there's no money exchange in getting you to watch them, maybe then you can trust it. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, how could you? There's got to be an ulterior motive. If you're trying to get people to watch, you're going to say whatever it takes to get people to watch.
Oh, 100%. And there's, I mean, you notice, I'm sure the spicier the meme you post, I mean, the more interaction it gets. Like if you say something people are going to disagree with, just kind of stir the pot, and all of a sudden you get more interaction on it. If your stuff's monetized,
right.
You know what I mean? It's just
division gets eyeballs, which gets you paid in reels bucks or whatever however you're monetizing your thing.
Yeah.
But like, it's at some level, I always wonder, like, because the things I post because I think they're funny, because I'm enjoying them. I'm like, oh, maybe someone else will enjoy this. Like, I believe in it. Yeah, I might not believe in the truth of the statement. I'm saying it to be funny. Obviously, half the shit I say I don't actually do. I mean, I'll be in fucking jail if I did. But I wonder how many of like traditional media sources and personalities believe what they're saying, or they know they're saying bullshit, but they're getting the eyeballs. Like, I wonder if Sean Hannity or Rachel Maddow really believes what they're saying on their show, or if they're just saying it to keep the story going, because that's what they're selling.
They're saying it. I suck at everything, okay? But I'm very intuitive. I'm good with people. I can read a room and whatnot. When I look Donald Trump in the eyes, I know that he's not okay, how do I say this without sounding weird? He is not as conservative as he
Oh, no.
I mean, we're talking about one of the biggest, most legendary playboys of all time, billionaire, and like all these, super pro-life Republicans. If you don't think Donald Trump's paid for an abortion or two in his life, get the fuck out of here, bro. And so I know.
What is the over-under, do you think, on the amount of abortions Donald Trump has paid for?
4.
4? You put the over-under at 4? You think and you take the under, the over on that?
I don't really know how that works, to be honest with you.
Okay, so it means like if you can set a line where 50% of the money will come on or below or above that. So like, the Dolphins will win 10 games this year, over-under.
Randy, you're showing everybody how dumb I actually am right now, and I don't appreciate it, okay? Let's just say I think he's had at least 4 abortions.
Okay, yeah. So the over under is 4. I'm going to take the over on 4. I'm going to say because he's paid off 3 women for affairs, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's what we know about.
Yeah. So I'm going to say twice as many women as he's paid off as how many abortions he's had. So I'd say at least 6 abortions.
Yeah, because I mean, they weren't using rubbers in the 70s.
No.
They were just
and I'm for sure Donald Trump doesn't seem like the kind of guy to use a condom.
Oh my God. He's like me.
Love him or hate him, I'm pretty sure we could all agree he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that uses rubbers.
No, 100%, dude. And it's I just know, and I mean, I kind of experienced this backlash because I have a majority. Just because I make fun of libs doesn't mean that's the popular thing. If Republicans made this huge swing and became in power and we just become this super conservative Christian nation, I want to make fun of that because that's the thing. That's what's prevalent. So I kind of garnished this conservative following, and so I came out and said, "Are we still doing this Roe v. Wade shit?" I don't.
You face some backlash for that. That's funny because I have the exact opposite problem. I'm a pretty. I'm not registered in any party, and I lean more progressive, in the policies and the ways I want them to sort of be executed. But I don't think that comes through my humor. My humor is mostly about dating and personal life stuff and cultural things. But for whatever reason, my following is probably more progressive. And if I post anything that makes fun of progressives, I'll take shit for it. And I'm like, well, I just thought it was funny. Like every other joke I made was funny. It's not. Yeah. I'm not like making a political statement here. I'm just saying Hillary Clinton's stupid fucking, kimonos look ridiculous, whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just poking fun like at her style. I don't give a shit about her political beliefs. She looks funny in the fucking her stupid mock necks.
Right.
But shit like that would get me. I get grief from my followers sometimes. It's like, guys, I'm doing the same thing I always do. Just because it's someone you like, don't take it personally.
That's what's so hard about the comedy world now, because you want to talk about something with substance, but then you get into substance, worldly events, because you can only talk about so much.
How many ass-eating jokes can I make in a week?
Right. And that's where, I was a big stand-up fan for a long time, and I got into doing stand-up, but then it's like after hanging out at the comedy clubs for a while, it's like, okay, I'm burnt out. I need some substance. I need something that's going to invigorate my mind, Then you start going into like philosophy and stuff like that. But a lot of times people just don't want to hear it. People want to go to their jobs and they want to go out and hear some silly shit and kind of disconnect. But then I don't know. It's like this weird line that I'm trying to figure out, because I don't want to get pinholed into the political.
Yeah, that's always tough. I even feel like for political comics, like if you start doing political comedy, that's kind of what you got to do.
Right.
Whereas if you just do comedy and you have a bit here or there that might touch on it, gives you a little more leeway. But that's a hard part. On my Instagram page, and I'm sure you have the same problem. I bet you'll get, your turnover's high, but you get new followers and then replace some old ones because you'll piss a bunch of people off and new ones will come in and take their. Yeah, so I'm like, for every follower I gain, I lose, or every 2 followers I gain, I lose 1. It's a constant fucking struggle to keep, because I'm pissing somebody off with some joke that might have been not favorable to their political views, or might have had a subject in it that you can't talk about that. My wife died of a drowning. It's like, I don't know that. Like, I'm talking about drowning babies during a baptism. It's nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I'm talking about your wife. I'm talking about a baby.
Yeah, I'm talking about drowning babies and baptism. It has nothing to do with your wife. But
yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard because I want to say I don't care, but obviously you do kind of care. How's you've been doing a lot of stand-up?
Yeah. I've been on the road a lot this year. So the last couple of years we've been because of fucking pandemics, we were just going to the states that were open.
Yeah.
But this year, like, everything has been popping. So on the weekends, I've been traveling a lot. But then during the week, I'm trying to fucking make money, make the ends meet. So I'll do a couple shows a week, and then on the weekend I'll do like 5 or 6.
What's the climate out here like right now?
I'll tell you right now. I've played all over the country. The toughest audiences are in LA, just because there's a lot more landmines, and also everyone's like, too cool.
What do you mean? What do you mean landmines? Like topics that set
like
people off?
like what? Like I'm making a joke about the gay pride parade. I can't, it ran through my neighborhood. I don't know what you want, because I live in West Hollywood. Like, what the fuck? Like, I can't talk about an event that happened. Because I'm not gay. All right, but so that's a little bit tougher. But people are happy to be out, and I think the pendulum, like I said, the audiences in LA are probably tougher than most places, but even here they're getting better, and certainly out in the rest of the country. I mean, where was I recently? I was in Fort Lauderdale.
I'm sure that's fun.
That was fucking unbelievable. We were, all over Texas. Where the fuck? Oh, I'm going to DC.
Cool.
And all the crowds have been great, and they're happy to laugh at it. It's very rare to be surprised someone will get upset now. I feel like the pendulum's swinging back to people like, all right, if all the people who wanted to come out and be offended got that out of their system, and they're not coming, like, they've already gone to the comedy club during the pandemic and yelled at the fucking comic and said he's a misogynist or he doesn't believe in COVID because he's doing a show, and they kind of scream themselves out. Yeah. I feel like they've lost their steam, and the pendulum's swinging back to more towards normalcy.
It's exhausting to be offended.
I don't understand it, man. How could you be more upset than the purported victim? Like I said, it's always like, some 26-year-old green-haired chick who went to Stanford, talking about, Black Lives Matter. It's like, you're not black. Like, how do you care more than them? Like,
yeah,
they don't want you nosing around in their problems. Haven't you heard this yet? It's called colonialism. Cut it out.
Yeah.
Like, let them be upset. Don't be upset for it. Like, you can support them, but like, they don't always get mad at a show. I've never seen one guy get fucking angry at anything I said on stage. Not once. It's always a woman who, like, clutches her pearls and like, oh, that's not funny to you. Everyone else seemed to enjoy it. Like, that one wasn't for you. Give me another 30 seconds. I'll tell a different one. I got another one coming right behind this joke. Like, I got a whole stream of them, lady.
Yeah, women, I think, just kind of have a hard time shutting the fuck up.
They can't let it go.
And you know why I know this?
It's almost like you're in an argument, even though there's an audience.
Right.
It becomes an individual argument with every woman in the room.
Right. It's like, I'm not arguing with you, lady. I've just said something and you can take it or leave it. Like, I've no dog in this fight. I already said it. But yeah, they can't let shit go. And they have a hard time just sitting there and listening. But you know what? The reason I know this is because I'm kind of the same way. Like, that's why I don't pursue stand-up much harder, because I have such a big fucking mouth where it's hard for me to just sit through like hours of stand-up every night. You know what I mean? I'm just like outside on a
You want to have a
patio
conversation about whatever they're talking about on stage.
ripping cigarettes. It's not like I want to sit there and heckle a comedian by any means. It's not what I'm saying. It's just the
The topic was like, I want to talk about that. That's an interesting thing to talk about. Yeah, I can see that.
just like Dave Chappelle said something that it's another one of those things where I've had these feelings. I don't say them out loud. Then I hear somebody credible reinforce my beliefs, and then I feel good about it. But Dave Chappelle said he doesn't like watching stand-up because it feels like watching somebody fuck his girlfriend. so
You want to be that guy? It's like,
right.
yeah.
So when I'm just sitting there, like, okay, when's it my turn to talk? And so I'm sure that's how women feel, even though they're not comedians. They're like, when's it
All
my
right,
time?
Yeah,
I want
Smarty
to.
Pants up there with the microphone. Are you done yet? Because I got some ideas.
Yeah, I need to weigh
you
in.
beat the crowd with. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think I don't know. I think it's sort of dying down. I think people have just grown tired of that. And honestly, people just want results too. I mean, you're talking about the midterm elections. We get into politics now. One of the things I find funny is like, so the Republicans won the House back, and they're like, oh, what's your agenda? Investigate Hunter Biden. It's like, dude, man, you guys ran on gas prices. What about fucking? How are we gonna get those down? Like, what about what you ran on?
Yeah.
It seems to be everyone just wants to grandstand, and no one wants to do any sort of actual legwork to fix anything. And that goes for people yelling at fucking comedy shows, to every jerk off with their comment on fucking on the internet, to politicians talking about this and then doing nothing when they actually get elected. It's just a world full of hot air.
It's all fucked.
Fucked.
It's all fucked. Burn it down. Shut it down. We peaked in the 90s.
No, dude. 2001, dude. September 10th, 2001 was the apex of Western civilization.
Hold up. September 10th, 2001 was the apex
of Western civilization. After the 9/11, I feel like that's when division really started to crack.
Man,
we started
you're right.
We started two wars. One of them might have been justified. The other one certainly wasn't. Like there was the spending went through the roof. Right, yeah. Bush begot Obama, begot Trump. Like that was kind of, I think it was either then or when Clinton got his dick sucked. Somewhere
that was
in
good
there
for the country.
Yeah, somewhere in there, somewhere between Bill Clinton getting his dick
him.
sucked and 9/11 was the peak of Western civilization.
Yeah. I agree with that timeline. Yeah.
Cell phones were out, but there was no cameras on them, so you couldn't get caught doing shit you weren't supposed to be doing.
Yeah, you could communicate, but you weren't going to get
in trouble,
busted,
Use
dry
a T9
snitching on
word.
yourself. Yeah. Oh yeah, T9 word. Wow, I forgot about that.
How old are you? Rolos, remember that?
Yeah, I'm 32. I'm about to be 33.
All right. So were you fast at the T9 word?
Dude, I don't really remember. I don't think I had enough bitches to really. I was a big dork, dude.
I don't know. I was about 11 years old then. I wasn't fucking bitches.
Yeah, I did. And you had to pay for the text messages.
That's right.
So I think
a dime a text message or some shit.
I think I just had a phone so my dad could call me and yell at me for being home late. But yeah, I mean, I don't really remember because I don't think I even got a smartphone until I was probably.
Ooh, I held out a long time on the smartphone, man. I was rocking a BlackBerry like well into iPhone 6 territory.
Damn, that's commitment.
Yeah, I remember I was seeing a girl I shouldn't have been seeing. She took my.
We'll get more into that.
No,
I tried. Sorry.
I tried. No, but this is way back. But she would make fun of me for having a BlackBerry. I'm like, why? It does a trick. Fucking.
As she should.
As she should. Yeah. I mean, this is like I said. This is iPhone 4 or 5 territory. So at this point, it wasn't like you could watch streaming YouTube on an iPhone at this point. I'm still with the fucking BlackBerry with the track wheel.
Damn.
So at one point, we're having wine somewhere, and she breaking my balls about it. She gets drunk, grabs my fucking BlackBerry, and just smashes it on the floor. She goes, "Now you got to get a new one." Like,
damn.
Fucking. What? The worst part is that was my work phone.
Was she Latina?
She was French.
Oh man, she sounds like a hot Latina.
Yeah, I grew up with hot Latina chicks. That was my thing.
Nice. Yes.
You into Latin broads?
Oh, dude, it's my whole thing.
Is there a lot of Latin broads up in Seattle?
No, but I live in Texas.
Oh, would you move out to Dallas?
I'm actually homeless right now. Long story short. But
Yeah, the meme lord thing didn't work out, but
no, it was kind of my lease was up, so I was living in Austin.
okay.
And then
wow.
And then
I mean, I could talk about living in the fucking the belly of the beast.
Yeah, no, like we were kind of, we were talking about it before the show here, and Austin's a strange city because you get all the liberal people of Texas congregate in Austin, and now you got this influx of like failed LA people.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say that because there are some very talented and very good comics out there.
Yeah,
okay?
no, it took a lot of the fluff that was in LA out. I kind of liked it, having stayed in LA.
Yeah.
Like in that, it cleared out some of the comics from here. Go elsewhere. There's more for me to do around here now.
It's kind of, and I shouldn't, because that's like my home base. So I really should, because like I said, there's some really, let's say 90% of people, and that's like anywhere you go, 90% of the comics are going to be trash.
Yeah.
It's like just because you're sad doesn't mean you're
that's
funny.
any profession. 90% of doctors are going to be not as good as the top 10. Like this is how it goes.
Right.
There's C students everywhere, folks.
Right.
The world is littered with
And
them.
I'm not saying I'm a great stand-up comedian. That's the art. Like you got to really dial that shit in. But just like the scene itself in Austin is just a little dorkier, if that makes sense. Because LA is still kind of has that Hollywood cool, like you still have to. It's still Hollywood, even though it's stand-up. It's still Hollywood. You know. You go out to Texas and you just got motherfuckers living in their car with mohawks and just killing it. But I don't know. It's fun. It's fun, but I'm probably gonna move to Dallas myself.
Dallas is a good time. Plenty of Latin women. Lots of. It's America. Lots of Mexicans. Well, what varietal of Latin women?
Dude, far right.
I grew up mostly Puerto Rican, Dominican guys.
Far right Latinas, dude. That's my thing.
A lot of them.
Yeah,
a lot of. That's another thing. Another misconception. Like, of course, Hispanic people are going to vote Democrats. Like, why? Most of them are Catholic. They're very conservative people.
Right.
And that's because Trump hates Mexican. Also, the idea that every Hispanic, all Hispanics support Mexicans. So you understand there's like racial and national divides amongst Hispanic people too. People from the Dominican Republic don't give a shit about people from Mexico. They care about their problems.
Well, and that's
know what I'm saying. Like it's one of those things. The idea that like the Democratic Party thinks, it's like a monolith. Latinx people, which is again colonialism. Latinx, who the fucking tell another entire culture how to use their language.
Yeah.
But they vote as a block. I'm like, no, the fuck they don't. Like, people from Cuba have very different values than people from Spain. It's not like they're all the fucking same.
Right. And I think the most racist people are white liberals because they just bunch people together, They just say, you're gay, you think this way. Oh, you're Mexican, you think this way. Oh, you're from Europe.
There is a silent, I don't know if it's racism, but it's a silent condescension and hypocrisy for sure. The idea that like you said, they must think this way because they're all in the same group. And then they lump them together. My favorite, look, I live with a gay guy. I'm more than down with the gay community because they don't want to have kids, and neither do I. But they can't have kids, and I don't want them. But like the LGBTQ, like gay and lesbian, and the idea of is diametrically opposed to the idea of being non-binary because gay men say they love other men, and gay women say they love other women. So they're admitting there has to be a gender, right? Like they're admitting it has to be genders for them to love the same sex. So even within LGBTQ in the long name, which now by the way is LGBTQIA2+. That's the latest version. In that, there's like 8 contradictions across that letter spectrum. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and that's where we've gone so everything is black and white to where I feel like if we have conversations about, I posted a meme this morning where I was kind of just making fun of the far left and the far right. Basically, the left was saying, had a chick drooling, like the drooly, like retard face. And it said, there's 70 genders. And then it had like the same face on the right saying, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. It's like, why can't people...
Why does it have to be one of those two things, really?
Right. It's like, just let people do what they want to do, but leave people alone. You know what I mean? And that's how I kind of fell into this like conservative pocket thing because I was never a conservative guy or something like that. But I don't care. I guess I'm more libertarian. I don't care what anybody does, but with that, I don't care what anybody does. I don't think you're brave for blowing a guy. I don't think there's anything wrong with you for blowing a guy, but I also don't give a fuck. It's none of my business. Like, stop. The same way I don't want
to celebrate this. I'm like, it's just like no one celebrates my sex life.
Right? Like you don't want to hear me talking about titty fucking somebody all the time. So it's like, what's the difference? It's like if I go out into the street, right, and if I say I like titty fucking far right Latinas, and I'm just wearing a man thong, like showing my asshole to children, what's the difference? Like just because you're gay, that's okay? Like, I don't know.
We should have straight parades. That's the solution.
It would, but see, that's
just floats with heterosexual sex going on,
Dude.
like a bed on a float, and just two straight people fucking.
We would all end up in prison.
Celebrate it, clap.
We would end up in prison instantly, dude. Because here's our whole lives, right? Like my father, my football coaches, like all the strong male figures in my life.
They told you were gay, and look, you're not. No.
In society, it's always been, keep your dick in your pants, be respectful towards the ladies, right? Like, don't be a fucking pig, right?
Yeah.
But and especially, women, they don't want to be sexually harassed, obviously. But it's like, as soon as you're gay, you can just be a fucking dirtbag.
I've had that conversation before. Gay guys have a lot of leeway with the shit they could say and do, but I'm always more impressed by the shit they can say. I mean, they'll say some hard. They'll call a woman fat, bro. As a guy, I mean, like as a straight guy, if I called a woman fat, I mean, talk about cancel, dude. I might be strung up in the street. Like you can't.
I don't care. Some of y'all bitches is fat. But said it.
They just have like a liberty to do that. I mean, I'm almost jealous of it. Like, how do they get that pass? How do I get a temporary one for a weekend? Something.
I think you just got to throw caution. Well, it depends. Once I will never be a senator at this point. I will never work at a corporation
man. See,
again.
that's one thing. Like the last 5 presidents, they said that about. Oh, if he could be president, anybody can. Like since Bush, everyone thought he was like a dummy. Everyone thought he was like a dummy. Like, oh, if this idiot can be president, anybody can, right? And then there was a black president. Oh, if a black guy can be president, anybody can, right? And then Donald Trump, I was like, oh my god, that guy's he has a more checkered past than anybody else. Like he said, obviously he said some horrible things and made some real fucked up jokes. And if he could be president, anybody can. You definitely don't have a bad background as he does. Come on, I'm sure there's not 7 supermodels you paid off. I'm sure you paid for less than 4 abortions.
I mean, there's. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you got a point.
You got a point. You don't have that much baggage.
I won't throw my.
You don't have a weird haircut and orange skin. You know what I'm saying? Like there are problems that he has that you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I call bitches fat and I got pasty skin, but so that might be working against me. Shout out to this clip popping up 20 years from now.
That's the other thing too about this show. I've said so much dumb shit on this. It's like, all right, at what point? If you're gonna cancel me on my last comment, then listen to the last 300 episodes. I've said even dumber shit. Like if you flood the zone with nonsense, I feel like people are like, all right, don't take anything he says seriously.
I feel like when that moment comes, you just gotta lean into it. Like the best thing that can ever happen to you is either getting sued because that means you got to a point where you're successful enough where people are eyeing your money. So it's like, whatever. Or somebody's trying to cancel you. It means you're at a point where you have enough eyes on you to where you're, because there's a lot of people saying some really foul stuff. Like if we went to the comedy store tonight, or maybe not tonight, but if you go to a comedy club on a Tuesday and you just hear people throwing around slurs and whatnot.
They have a term for that. A buddy of mine who's also a comic told me that comics out there are trying to be edgelords, where they just say the most ridiculous shit to see. Yeah. Like they basically trolling the crowd to see if they can, like, oh my God, can you believe he said the N-word in a joke? Like trying to get that rise out of people. Which, I mean, when you're chasing that kind of reaction, it's not genuine. People aren't going to like it,
Yeah, I always kind of wonder how people can tell me I'm not funny. Like I might not be somebody's cup of tea, but I know that I'm funny because that's how I get through life. Like that's my defense mechanism. Some guys know how to fight. I know how to make people laugh when it comes down to it, but then sometimes you see people get into comedy and they're just depressed and want to piss people off. So it's like, dude, at the end of the day, like your whole job is supposed to try to make people laugh. Like you want to alleviate some sort of real life burden off of people, So when people come around and they just want to be pure shock lords like that, it's corny.
Yeah, and I wonder too, like, obviously, if you want to do, I want to be a full-time comedian for the rest of my life, and I want to say things that are meaningful to me, and I want to talk about topics that mean something to me in a smart way. But you have to be funny. So I wonder, like, how many comics are starting out now that are just like trying to get a point across and aren't worried about being funny. And like, I'll get to that.
Clapter.
Yeah, exactly. Going for the clapter as opposed to like, I'll be funny and I'll figure out how to make these more intricate, complicated, culturally relevant bits later after I learn how to just get the jokes right. Like, learn how to write a joke and get people laughing first. So then I can edge into the deeper waters of a topic than to fucking just start out, giving a TED talk on abortion and people just agreeing. It's like that's not comedy. Yeah, it's not what I'm shooting for.
Comedy does not get the respect it deserves. I mean, I look at a DJ as being like the lowest bottom of the barrel of entertainment.
But they get paid the most.
Well, this
way of the world, folks. Yeah.
Irony. like you can't bullshit being a comic. It's you, a microphone, and a crowd, what you do with it. And so people really underestimate the time, the talent, the work, everything that goes into it. Because from the outside, just looking at it, looks like a guy just shooting the shit.
Well, that's the thing. You work all your life to make it seem like that's the first time you're telling those jokes to people.
Right.
When it's just not true at all. I mean, you've written those jokes, you've told those jokes, you've edited those jokes. You know, you pick up new parts, you add them in differently. So, like, it looks like you're being breezy up there, but that's because you've fucking worked on it. You know, like, very few comics, you know, are guys who only do crowd work will go up there and goof around. It's like 4, you know, but everyone else is up. And even those guys, those crowd work guys, a lot of the lines they say to people are stuff that they've, are, you know, how many different professions are there in the world? You know?
Right.
You know, 40, you can lump most of them into 30 or 40. So they have stock lines they throw out at people. Like, what do you do for a living? They have a stock line for that. So, but even that's a craft. You're right.
You've been in the game for a while, right? Doing stand-up?
6 years.
6 years?
6 years.
Yeah, see, I love stand-up, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're all a business. You know, you got to think of yourself as a business pretty much. And stand-up, I've done so many mics and stuff like that, and I just don't like I guess, do you put more stock in your internet presence, or are you leaning more into the stand-up, or I guess where's your...
It's kind of both. I want, and it's happening now that the pandemic's over. People that follow me are coming to see me when I'm out on the road, open up for my buddy. So I kind of want both. I want to, you know, my goal is to just, you know, essentially, I want more of the Bill Burr, Tim Dillon model than the Kevin Hart model. If I can model my career after anybody, like I want to do stand up on the road. I like going to do the live shows. I like doing this podcast, and I like goofing off on the internet. Those are things I like doing. You know, I don't want to be a movie star like Kevin Hart. I don't give a shit about a sitcom. So it's not. I'm not trying to go down that avenue. I'm trying to be on SNL. You know, fuck that show. I think it's corny. Whatever. Like what I want to do is more similar to those guys who have, I guess, more of a guerrilla presence. You know, Joey Diaz, like I said, Bill Burr, Tim Dillon. You know, even Shane Gillis. I'm less of a skit guy, but he's built his following based on his stand up and his podcast and what he does on the internet. You know, like I want to have my own following because I also feel like that's real job security. You know, if you give me a TV show, you can take away the TV show. Right. But if I can do 40 weekends a year and sell 500 tickets a night because they're coming to see me, right? Who the fuck's gonna fire me from that? Then you become uncancelable. You know, Louis C.K. was touring in Europe the entire time he was canceled here because they didn't have a stick up their ass out there. They're like, you know, oh well, we'll go see him. Like, you know,
that's why. Because at the end of the day, I would love to be a stand-up comic, but I'm putting so much effort into like the content and whatnot because, like you said, then
it makes a huge difference.
People find you and then they want to come see you. Versus if I'm just a person at a comedy club and I see a comedian I like, it comes and goes. Yeah. But if I follow somebody, now there's this connection. Like, oh, okay, they're in town.
Yeah. I mean, that's the real goal for me, right? I want to be good at stand up, so you have to practice to get good at that. So that when I get a following, they come see me, like, oh, I'm gonna pay to see him again. Like, it sort of reinforces that connection, right?
Right.
If they like me on the internet and they see me live, like, oh, he's fucking great. I'll see him again next time he's in town.
Right.
You kind of want that repeat customer.
There's a guy, my stomach is rumbling. I hope it's not picking up. It's gonna hear fucking rumbling.
You're on that LA diet, just cocaine and cigarettes for you all week?
Yeah, I was up really late last night, and then I woke up and I just ate like 2 eggs and 2 coffees, and I'm just sitting here like, Whoa.
How long you been out here now?
Been out here, I think 3 weeks.
All right, so how you liking the Southern California vibe? I know you lived out here, but this is pre-pandemic, I assume. Now that it's a homeless haven.
Urban decay. Dude, I used to live
right outside here. There's the homeless encampment right on Cahuenga.
I saw it, dude. I saw it. And so I used to live in North Hollywood, kind of Burbank area there. And then I lived, I forget what the street was called. It was like 4 blocks south of Sunset.
Okay.
So those are kind of my two. Yeah. So those were kind of my 2 little pockets, and I went and checked them out. Like I went and parked at the North Hollywood station the other day, and I took the red line. And I was like, "This is different, dude. This is different. There's just security everywhere. There's just piss everywhere. It was just nasty."
I wonder where they all came from. Because it happened pretty fucking quick. Like it was bad when I got here, but it like doubled overnight.
I mean, I'm very sympathetic towards people with, you know, hats off, respect to anybody that ever overcomes any sort of addiction or something like that. Luckily, I don't have that gene. But when you build an incentive, I mean, that's what happened in Seattle because you get the whole country.
Seattle was really bad. Dude, I was there. I'm going back in a week, not this weekend, next. And I was there in February. It was dude, I'd never seen this. I hadn't seen this since New York in the mid-'90s. Literally 10 guys in a smoking circle passing around a crack pipe at like 1 p.m. next to the public market.
That's crazy.
Like people like walking around, these people just smoking a crack pipe.
When you say public market, you talking about like Pike downtown?
Pike Street Market. Damn. What the fuck? Like, and everyone's getting out of their way. Like, just so blatant. Like, usually like, you go sit in the park, like fucking in the middle of the sidewalk, like just
Dude,
a
shit.
giant smoking circle.
Dude,
so I
see,
jumped right in and hit that pipe. Son.
See, see,
It's fucking free crack, dude.
how was it, dude?
Cracks. I mean, it's cocaine, but
It's got to be some good shit if people give up their whole lives for it, you know? Like, if I didn't have the inherent need for validation from Latinas and whatnot, I would probably be a crackhead. Because think about it, it's got to be some good shit for them to just give up their whole fucking lives for it, right? Like, oh, fuck my wife, fuck my house, fuck my
kids,
car,
everything,
I want this crack. And then you basically just wake up and go on a different journey every day. You wake up on some sidewalk. You're like, where am I going to get my fix? And you just go on a quest every day. You're just living
bottles, robbing shit.
You're just living in your own little world, you know? You're just doing your thing.
Yeah,
but
talk about, no one lives more in the moment than a junkie.
100%. That's why they burn out faster. That's a dark joke.
It's a dark joke.
That's a dark joke. But I mean,
I don't know, man. What would so would you come back here, you think, ever?
I think I would. I think if I had enough money. I think if I can get
living if you're broke in LA, man. And I'm broke in LA. It's fucking, the way the social construct of the city makes you feel poor. It's even worse in New York City because there's a lot of broke people in New York City, but everyone's kind of all jumbled together. In LA, it's like the broke people stay the fuck over here, and the rich people get to go to this party. And like it's very, very stark.
Well, in my introduction to LA, so I came down here to visit a friend, and he was dating this girl who, her mom was this ex-Playboy model, so just loaded, right? Yeah. So I come down to visit them, and I go from staying in LA high-riser, and we're going to like rooftop pool party, driving around in her Range Rover and stuff. And I'm 20, I'm 19, 20, like fresh out of, like a year out of high school, going to community. And I'm like, I'm going to move to LA. I moved to LA. Now I'm living in a fucking roach infested apartment, so it's a different
experience. You thought living in LA was like living at her place. And
your shit
and
I was young and dumb, but I feel like the divide is like, I mean, if you make anything less than $200,000, like
it's tough to survive.
It's hard to survive out here, dude.
But I mean, dude, there's a reason why California, charges all this rate and tax and people still come in. I mean, it's just physically, it's a beautiful place.
It is.
If you could just remove all the fucking people from it.
No, and I mean, even like this, I mean, having, studios and creative people and the good of LA, you can't get it anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
There's definitely, and I miss LA. Like I said, I miss like the coolness of LA. I miss not the Hollywood bougie bullshit, but just everybody's motivated. Everybody has some sort of dream. Everybody's working on something.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to network that way. But there's crackheads trying to steal your car.
What's wild to me is that, and I read this, I didn't think it was true, but like New York, I think like something like 85 to 90% of their homeless, they like put them away in like shelters at night. Like they have places for them to go. But for whatever reason, LA just still doesn't have any place for them to go.
Maybe it's just because it's warm enough. I don't know.
That's what I think. Like I wonder where they all walked from. Like how'd they get here?
Yeah. There's some desert stretches you got to go through to get. Oh, my mind just blew. How do they get here?
You're not walking from Salt Lake. You're gonna cross the Death Valley to get here. Like,
how does that work?
They just trucked them in. Maybe that's what DeSantis has been doing. Shipping them from South Florida.
No, like that's a really funny premise, but no, realistically, we should go down to the bridge and grab a guy and kind of.
Where'd you come from?
Yeah, like how the fuck did you get here, dude? Did you hop in the back of a truck, or like did you come here and decide?
They all got like a bindle stick, like a hobo, like Huck Finn, just riding a steam train down.
Oh man, see that sounds kind of fun too, dude.
A little bit, you're living in the moment.
Yeah.
But going back to what you were saying about politics, like because you would start to talk about how like you've made some references recently that have pissed your followers off, making jokes about Roe v. Wade, and that made me think because I was talking with a buddy about it last night who's more conservative. I have plenty of conservative friends, and he's a more conservative buddy of mine from back east came into town. And I was like, you don't see anybody in either political party diverge in any way on any of their opinions or values from the party. In that, like I remember back in the day, like there were Democrats who liked guns.
Yeah.
And there were Republicans that were pro-choice. Yeah. Now you can't be either of those things. You have to buy every single issue from top to bottom. Full stop. You can't. You're like, I agree with 90% of it, but these things I don't. You just don't do that anymore. And I don't know why that's not acceptable. Like, why can't you like diverge? Like, you're taking shit from it from some of your followers. Like, well, yeah, I'm a conservative guy. Just think Roe v. Wade, overturning it was dumb. Like, that's horrible. You're a rhino. It's like, what the fuck is that?
And it's dumb for multiple reasons. One, you're not minding your fucking business, and it's none of your business. And two, you would think if these people had a brain, they would get into power before enforcing their radical views. It's like,
Yes.
It's like if you're releasing a music album or something like that, you're not just going to come out with some fucking experimental. Like the Beatles, they didn't come out with that experimental album. They made Abbey Road. So it's you get on the
put your
radar.
weirdest song out as your demo. Like,
Right. So it's like if you're getting your ass kicked on all fronts politically in the polls, why? So now they got their asses kicked a week ago, and now they're coming after gay marriage, something we already, like I
already
said,
litigated 25 years ago.
It's like, dude, get in power, solve the economy, secure the borders, like get this inflation down, like fix the stuff.
That was my thing when it came out in June that Roe versus Wade was overturned. I was like, they should have waited 4 months.
Exactly.
November 7th would be a good time to talk about this. Not now. It's because it gives a wedge issue to the other party. And even though I agree that abortion should be legal, from a tactical point of view, I was like, they fucked that up. That was a bad idea.
Yeah.
And also to be really dark, not
Do it.
I'm gonna get myself canceled.
No, go in, dude.
If the Republicans were smart, wouldn't they be pro-abortion?
Yes. Why would you want?
It's mostly liberals who get it.
Yes. Why would you want them
in 20
breeding?
years, it's going to be a real problem for you. All these non-abortions that are happening.
Yeah.
No,
I-
there's going to be millions of voters that you don't want voting against you.
Yeah, I agree. It's nothing about it makes sense, and so if you even have this conversation, that's why I'm saying Trump isn't as conservative as people think. Because if he came out and said that, I mean, look at the reaction we was talking about the vaccine.
Yeah,
Like,
people change their mind on it immediately.
Like, I don't want the vaccine, but if you want to go get it, go do what you want to do. Like, that's not my problem. But you get Republicans where if they find out somebody's vaccinated, they're straight up like, well, fuck that guy.
I know.
It's
It's wild because Trump could have been just called it the Trump vaccine and taken credit for it.
He tried.
Like what I'm saying, he started with that. Like whichever direction he could have decided to go either way on it, and his crowd would have followed him. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like he's like, they don't, they're really more anti-vaccine. I'll go with that. But if he came out, it's like, can't wait for it, guys. Everyone's gonna be fucking fixed with my vaccine that I created, even though he's never touched a fucking lab coat in his life.
Yeah.
The Trump vaccine.
And I like Trump relatively, but I liked him as a media personality. I didn't like him as president. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. I thought he was entertaining. I never had a problem with him until he ran the free world.
Because say what you want about Obama, like things were happening where he said people were talking. Trump came in there, this huge divide happened. Even though I agree with a lot of shit that he said, it's not good for the country.
Yeah. Well, dude, I was telling my buddy who I had on last week, my buddy Don, he's a conservative guy from back in Boston, and he's always been a Ron DeSantis fan. I'm like, why? That guy's... Yeah, he's definitely right wing, but he's clearly not unhinged. He's clearly a normal guy.
Yeah, which is very refreshing.
The president came to see him after the hurricane. He accepted his invitation and the federal help. He didn't tell Biden to go fuck himself. He's a normal transactional guy who you can reason with.
Yeah.
Like they got to get Trump out of here. DeSantis, I think, could win in the general election. I think Trump is going to make it very difficult in 2024. My personal opinion.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
All right, let's get into a little news before we get out of here. I do a little. Some news stories at the end, and I curate them, so
Cool.
they're always very interesting. Speaking of FTX, so Sam Bankman-Fried is the CEO of FTX. He hired his former girlfriend to run Alameda Research, which was the hedge fund trading arm of his crypto exchange.
Is he the guy with the
big G fro? Yeah. I mean, it's what it is.
He said it, not the German guy. That's where I get scared. I'll call women fat. But I don't
You
go
learned from Kanye.
I don't go. Yeah, I don't go anywhere near the J word. Miss me with that one.
Whatever. Sam Bankman-Fried's ex-girlfriend Caroline Ellison made foray into quote Chinese harem polyamory.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Ellison, who dated FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried, wrote candidly about her foray into the poly world on her now deleted Tumblr account back in February of 2020. The post, along with a series of others, said that she was in a part of a 10-person cabal of roommates that were in a poly relationship.
Damn.
She said, quote, I started my first foray into poly, and I thought it was a radical break from my traditional lifestyle. But to be honest, I've come to decide the only acceptable style of poly is best characterized as something like, quote, imperial Chinese harem. She continued to say none of this hierarchical bullshit. So she explains what this is. She said an imperial Chinese harem is lacks any hierarchical bullshit. Everyone should know the ranking of their partners and whoever else they're sleeping with, and the ranking should be public, and they should have a vicious fight for power for higher ranks.
Hold on. Can you say that term one more time? What is it? Chinese?
Imperial Chinese harem.
Imperial Chinese harem. That is funnier than far-right Latina. I got a new thing to lean into. I got a new
Imperial
thing.
Chinese harem.
Yeah, I don't care what the fuck these people are up to. That term slaps. That's
But like, could you imagine? Like, would you want a list? Like, let's say you're casually dating a girl, right? She's like, hey, just so you know, we're not exclusive yet. Okay, here's a list of all the other guys I'm seeing and where you rank on it. Would you want to know that list?
I mean, no, but would I want to have that list and be like, hey, this is where you're at. Step the game up.
Just one way?
Yeah, just one way. I didn't. So polygamous, that's basically where everybody just fucks everybody, or
Polygamy is when you have multiple wives. Polyamory is when you have multiple lovers. So like polyamory, they're not married. Everyone's just kind of fucking everybody else.
God, I didn't know those were two different words.
Yeah, see, I've had this argument. I've had dating coaches on the show, and she was talking about how she dabbled in polyamory. I'm like, as far as I know, that's being single. Like, oh yeah, but
Yeah,
but
what
you
the
tell
fuck?
them it's like, yeah, when I'm single, I sleep around with whoever the fuck I feel like, and I don't tell everybody else who I'm sleeping with. It's none of their business. Like,
Yeah, what the
who I
fuck?
see is none of your business.
Yeah, why do we have all these labels?
Yeah.
Dude? Can't we just be people? Like you're a guy, I'm a guy, or whatever the fuck you want to be. But it's like we have to have all these labels on stuff.
It gets way more complicated.
You're so right.
It was like no one. Like, if I took a girl on a third date, it's the third time I saw her, she wasn't asking me, by the way, how are the other 3 girls you're dating? It's like, well, don't worry about it. It's none of your fucking business. And also, I wouldn't have told her to begin with. Like,
Right.
It's none of her business.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. Call me. I have a rotation.
Of hot conservative Latina bitches,
Just, I mean,
far right Latina women.
it's very, dude. My experience, everything that the movies have shown us, this whole like, oh, chase a girl, tell her that, everything I've known growing up was just absolute bullshit.
Oh yeah.
And that's so when I got older, I just realized, I mean, women would rather share like a cool, funny guy than have some dork to themselves.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a famous. Fuck. How's a famous saying go? It's like women would rather share a successful man than have a committed loser.
Yeah, I mean,
like-
that's like if I were successful, I would use that term versus.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had money, I'd say the same shit. But
Yeah, exactly. But no, yeah, I forget where I was going with that. Started thinking about pussy or
the
something.
Latin chicks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember. We never closed the loop on that. What nationality of Latina do you like? What's your favorite?
It really doesn't matter. Like I said, it's kind of a meme. It's a meme. And so the far right Latina thing, because I really do like Latin women.
Yeah,
I mean,
who
like,
doesn't?
I mean, they're beautiful. They're kind.
Passionate people.
They're just
sometimes too passionate.
yeah, sometimes too passionate.
Hide the knives, guys.
But it's just because that term far right Latina, the first time I heard it, I just started dying laughing because, like you said, a lot of them are just naturally Catholic. Because when you say far right, you think storming the fucking Capitol.
Yeah, exactly.
But so it's like, just because somebody doesn't want to have an abortion, or somebody is okay with living with their parents until they're a little bit older,
Yeah.
or or is
They go
very
to
close
church.
with their sibling,
Right, they
but
go to
close-
church. What an asshole.
It doesn't mean that they're crazy right wingers.
Yeah.
So that's when they say far right Latina, you're just talking about Latin culture.
Exactly.
Which is just kind of more. It's
Yeah,
more
very Catholic. I mean, yeah.
family values,
Yeah.
God, like, it is what it is. So it's more, when I say far right Latina, I'm not talking about, I want
Are you a believer? You a faithful guy?
yeah and no. I kind of, I don't know what this kind of a, yes, I believe in God.
Well, I don't know. Like, were you raised Catholic or something like that? I was raised Catholic, but I don't really participate in anything anymore.
Yeah, I don't like the human gathering and giving money aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once people get involved in any organization, it tends to go awry.
Right.
The Bible, the Old Testament, real dark, real creepy.
Yeah.
New Testament, kind of nice. If I can, turn the other cheek, give unto others, all that shit.
Yeah. Again,
And then you get the Pope who becomes king, and he gets all the land.
right.
And then he says, you can't marry any other women because I want to keep the land and I get all the boys. It's like, all right, wait. It gets fucking weird real fast.
Yeah.
It always ends up with, give me your wife and your money.
Yep.
Like every religion, at some point, if it becomes popular enough, the guy on top's like, I want your money and all of your women. It's like, what the fuck?
It's a pretty good gig.
It's a good gig if you can get it. You get a nice funny hat and some robes.
And that's You know, that's so Bill Burr one time had this joke where he was talking about the one good thing about being a psycho is that he can spot other psychos.
Yeah.
So with me, I'm German, and we all know the German bloodline. There's some darkness
Some
there.
weird things going
There's
on there.
There's some weird things, and so I'm not. Basically, if I were to exploit certain situations or like prey on people, there's certain behaviors I would do and certain characteristics that I would look for in those people. But because I'm aware of these things, I don't do them.
Yeah,
that is
if
why.
if they're doing things that you would do, you're like, I can't fuck around with that person. You're like, they're kind of similar to me, and that's bad character. I'm not.
Exactly. I realized, okay, you have this gene that I have. You have this dark gene, but you're acting upon it.
Yeah.
And so I can see it in people. And a lot of times, like these uber religious people or just anybody that acts way too holier than thou, I'm like, okay, well, if I wanted to take people's money, that's what I would do. I would build like a weird trust on like, oh, I would
Don't
never
pay
do
taxes. I have the word of the ear of God. It's like, fuck off. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a sweet gig, and so I don't like it when people exploit people. You know, I don't like bullies, and I feel like it's just like emotional bullying.
I'm not a fan of the bully thing because if you're bullying someone, you're not really tough. It's like do you know who I am? It's like no one would have to ask if you were somebody important. You wouldn't have to say that.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
If you have to talk about how much money you have, you don't have much. You know, like,
Yeah, and the bullying comes in multiple forms. It doesn't just mean like, oh, give me your lunch money, nerd. It means just like manipulating people.
Yeah.
And it's like organized religion. I just see it would be the perfect avenue to manipulate vulnerable people.
Of course. Oh yeah, think about it. The product they're selling doesn't even exist, right? Like it's not like at least Jeff Bezos has to send you something in the mail when you fuck around with Amazon.
Yeah.
These guys like you'll be in the kingdom of heaven when after you die. I'll share it with you.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I get nothing here for this.
Yeah.
I'm giving you 10% of my money. I'm getting nothing right now.
Yeah.
You'll get it after I'm dead. Oh, okay.
That's a weird way to put it.
It's a genius way to do it, dude. Speaking of, this is the last news story. The World Cup's about to start in Qatar.
Is it already that time of year?
Yeah.
Or time of life again?
Next week, yeah, or this weekend, I think. They just announced today they're banning liquor sales in Qatar for the World Cup. They said they would allow it. They rescinded that decision. So now there'll be no liquor sales at the World Cup in Qatar.
I wonder how that's going to affect their. Well, I guess if people bought their tickets there, probably had to buy a year ago.
That's exactly my point. They rat fucked everyone who bought tickets to come see this shit. Think about it. If you're flying in from Germany to support the German national team, you want to have a fucking stein of beer.
Oh, man.
There's no beer in the whole.
You just rattled some serious German fear right there, dude. Don't get the Germans scared. Do not scare us. Bad things happen when we get scared. Don't do that. Don't take
They tried to take over the world twice.
Yeah. Have you seen how small Germany is? Like, we're some fucked up people, okay? Don't take the Germans. Dude, that is pretty wild, though, because there's going to be a ton of, like, Brittany Griner situations where people are going to try to sneak shit in and getting in some serious trouble over there.
Yeah, man. That's the thing that, I mean, look, World Cup everyone knows FIFA's fucking corrupt and you have to buy a World Cup. People have known that for 20 years.
Just basically like mob rigged.
I straight have to bribe all the guys. There's like 20 guys in the executive committee. You got to bribe them to get them to choose your country. And Qatar gave them tens of millions each. I think one guy they asked for 15 million and they gave it to him. But I would have thought like FIFA would have made sure like, all right, but you got to make sure you can't arrest any gay people that show up, and we got to sell liquor. We got to do the things we normally do. Yeah. It's like going to the Super Bowl. And there's no cheerleaders and no fucking, no nachos and no beer. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That always cracks me up. So I'm an F1 fan.
Okay.
And it always cracks me up because you get these like super, like Sebastian Vettel. I don't know. Are you into racing?
Yeah.
So he's probably just like my favorite guy. He's German and yada, yada. But he always has all these like super progressive messages. Him and Lewis Hamilton, they're always super, super progressive with everything.
Yep.
But next week, you're racing in some Middle Eastern country where women aren't allowed to drive.
Yeah. Well, look, some of their rules are not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the insurance
insurance rates are a lot lower in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, those guys.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean, these hyper Islamic guys in the Middle East, they don't have a bad gig either. They got multiple wives, get to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, it's pretty nice when you get to make the rules for yourself.
Yeah, just oppressing people, Pretty nice gig, I guess.
There's a great question. I asked my buddy that. We'll end on this. I asked my buddy that a few weeks ago. Just we were getting high in my living room. I asked him one really dumb question, which I'll tell you after the show. And I didn't bring it up back on the podcast. But the next thing I asked him was, if you could be dictator, would you be? Like, if you could be the supreme leader of the United States, would you take that job?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I would take the job. And
Think so? See, I say no. I don't think being dictator is as cool as it seems. Like being Vladimir Putin, there's a lot of perks. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of shit he has to worry about that you don't. Like everyone else in his circle trying to kill him and take his power.
No,
the fucking America with their missiles pointed at you. There's a lot of shit going on. You got fires to put out. You got to keep your people down and oppress them and send people out to war. I mean, there's a lot of shit you got to deal with. I think being dictator sounds like a fucking nightmare, dude.
But what you can, if you're the dictator and you can just go, okay, blah, 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 blah. I would surround myself with the governing body, and then I would just be kind of the face of the company. I'd be like the.
Well, see, that's what George Bush Jr. did. I think he might have been. I feel like if I were president, I'd do it like him. I'd just do all the public appearances and have the vice president.
Dick Cheney running it.
Do all the real work. I'm gonna go read a book to these kids.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that stuff.
I mean,
you handle the fucking public and foreign policy, asshole.
Yeah, I'll show up and talk. I'll get in front of a microphone, say, we've made great strides in the country. You people are what make us great, blah, 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 blah. Then I'd get off stage and I would have my harem of women. I would have my super sport car. Yeah. I mean, worst things would be happening at that desk if I was in charge.
You remember that video of the guy in Iraq throwing his shoe at George Bush Jr.?
Yeah, it's classic.
He ducked twice. He was pretty quick.
Yeah, dude.
But the best way he smiled the whole time. He was like,
he's pretty funny.
He's fucking funny, dude.
There was that other clip where, I think it was right after 9/11, kind of dark, but he's like, we will show these terrorists you don't mess with America, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, now watch this shot. And he goes and tees off a golf ball. Just such a dork, dude.
Now watch this drive.
Yeah, I'll send you the video if you haven't seen it.
Fucking classic. Oh, man. So, guys, go get The Petty Principle. It's out now. Is it at Amazon Books?
Yeah, you can go.
Did you read it? Do you have audio? Audible?
Yes.
Nice.
So if you go to lordpetty.com, you can get all my direct links for everything. But the book's available on Amazon, paperback, ebook. You can get it on Audible. I can provide a link to it.
Nice. Yeah, send me the links. I'll definitely read it. I love anything funny, but also I'd love to read your philosophy. But what I love about it is what is it, like 120 pages, dude?
Yeah, I condensed it down. It was like 200, and I was like, nobody wants to read a first-time author's 200 pages.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. The audiobook's
this is the kind of book, and people shit on this, no pun intended, but you leave it in the fucking, in the John, because each one of them is like an essay almost.
Right.
You gotta do it in chapters like that,
Yeah, I just leave them around. So the reason this one looks kind of ratchet, by the way, because that's an author's copy. It's like the free ones that I get. So if you actually buy the book, it's a clean.
I'll pay for it. I'll buy the book, and they can find you at Lord Petty _ right?
Yes, sir. Lord Petty 2 _. Like I said, check out lordpetty.com for more links, stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you doing this. And where will I be? This will be coming out in the first week of December because I'm pre-taping. I pre-taped a bunch this week.
Cool.
So get this book for Christmas. Go to his website, get his fucking great merch. I will be in Seattle on the 2nd and 3rd, opening for Jeff Dye, and then I'll be at DC at the DC Improv the 8th through 11th, also opening up for Jeff. And then I got a corporate in between there. So if you know me and you're in Arizona the first week of December, I'm coming for you. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for doing this, brother. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, guys. We're out for this one. Peace.